Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Linda Lee, Director of Research Center for Sustainable Hong Kong of CityU University of Hong Kong. We are most pleased to welcome all of you here. Some of you are here in CityU University of Hong Kong, and then most of us, we have more than 300 registered participants joining us today, this morning, from Hong Kong as well as overseas in some of the Belt and Road jurisdictions, in business, professional services, academics, and of course our young potential and future professionals. So we look forward to not only very vibrant discussions this morning. We have 5 distinguished speakers, and as well as very renowned leaders of the society joining us in the panel. So we also have representatives of consul generals of a number of our Belt and Road jurisdictions with us today. And most of all, we have many of you joining us in your offices and homes over Zoom. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our Council Chairman of CityU University of Hong Kong to give us a welcome remarks. Thank you.
I start by sending my greetings to Dr. Bernard Chen, who has the good fortune of attending, who had the good fortune of attending the same high school as I did, LaSalle College. But of course, today he is gracing us in his capacity as the Undersecretary for Commerce and Economic Development. I also greet the Consul Generals of Myanmar and Vietnam. I greet Professor Linda Lee, and I greet also my good friends in the professional bodies, Dr. George Lam, Melissa Pang Johnson, and of course, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, and those who are on the online service. I also greet you. Of course, it's a great pleasure for me to stand here to welcome you to the City University of Hong Kong, and to welcome those who are online from all over the world. And we hope that you will enjoy this symposium. It's been a great time putting this together. If you look at the City University's strategic plan, which is my roadmap for leading this university, the latest strategic plan, in fact, highlights a particular point, and it highlights the need to promote interdisciplinary research. And we have to extend the frontiers of knowledge within and beyond our existing research capabilities. And so we hope to contribute to solutions of real-world problems and global critical issues. It's essential, of course, then to build a sufficient critical mass so that we can develop our understanding. We can also develop a familiarity with the problems, as well as, in time, we can promote more interdisciplinary work so that this form of life takes on a life of its own. The Research Center for Sustainable Hong Kong was established not too long ago, in 2017. It's an applied strategic research center within this university. Since it started, in fact, it has been active in promoting this cross-disciplinary, cross-border, cross-sector research work. And we are very fortunate in that it has been pleasingly received. And it has pleasingly received a lot of encouraging recognition. And through its good work, it's developed extensive research networks in different regions and sectors all around the world. The center has recently completed a 3-year strategic public policy research project. And this project was on the co-evolution of the Belt and Road Initiative and Hong Kong professional services. So it's built on solid research initiatives and findings and the partnerships that have since been developed. So the center seeks to complete the last mile today by engaging the community in global research collaborations and knowledge transfers. And we hope to connect dots and piece together supply and demand. So the center will do this through exchanging ideas and interactive communication. And therefore, we have this series of what we are calling PASS workshops. Now, PASS workshops are supported by a number of different professional bodies, and you will see the names of some of them here. They are also supported by business chambers, and again, their names are here. Now, there are also different city university units that have come together, hence the interdisciplinary collaboration. So there are many I need to thank, but I need to particularly thank the Professional Services Advancement Support Scheme of the Hong Kong government, hence PASS, right? Professional Services Advancement Support Scheme. Because together with Golden Resources, they have in fact sponsored this series of workshops and the center. So this workshop series is a timely and excellent initiative to directly bring benefit to Hong Kong and beyond. It's entitled Advancing Professional Development on Economic and Trade Cooperation Zones. This is a little bit of a mouthful, but it's in short ETCZs, right? And this initiative focuses on the Belt and Road countries. So this workshop series aims at introducing and enhancing the understanding of Hong Kong professional services on ETCZs along the Belt and Road countries. And we hope to deepen the understanding of key stakeholders in these ETCZs on the competitive edge offered by Hong Kong professional service providers and the different business sectors. So we want to help to explore potential development opportunities via a robust exchange of ideas and, of course, the sharing of analysis. From now until March 2022, so spanning a period of about 14 months, in addition to this opening symposium, the workshop series will consist of 6 professional workshops. And these workshops will cover 7 countries, including Cambodia, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Myanmar, Malaysia, Djibouti, and Belarus. So you can see there are near and far countries. We will invite zone operators, local enterprises, professional service leaders, expert scholars, and government officials to contribute to the dialogue. We will then conclude with a closing forum to consolidate what we learn from these 6 workshops and analyze the findings and, of course, disseminate this. In this, the inaugural symposium, we kick off with distinguished speakers from industry and professional bodies. CityU has this very, very central theme. As an aim, we continue to create knowledge through top-notch research and we readily share the new knowledge created through professional education for a better society and a better future. So we are going to be here today, working together. Let's work together not only today, but throughout the series of workshops to develop a more sustainable Hong Kong. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the symposium today and you gain some inspiration from what is coming up in the 6 upcoming workshops. I hope you all have a safe and healthy 2021. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lester. May I now invite Dr. Bernard Chen to give us a keynote remark.
Thank you. Lester, Counsel General, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My pleasure to join you all at the PASS Opening Symposium. Congratulations to Professor Linda Lee and your team from the Research Center for Sustainable Hong Kong for organizing today's symposium and also the upcoming workshops, bringing together industrialists and professional service practitioners and academics and also important stakeholders to share insights and experience in doing businesses in overseas markets, in particular in economic and trade cooperation zones along the Belt and Road. Global connectivity is indeed the backbone for the modern world, and the importance of that is particularly visible during COVID-19. The epidemic, together with some trade conflicts, actually gave rise to a more fragmented international trade system, and because of that, the global economy actually took a big hit. Indeed. The global connectivity and also the multilateralism remain the way forward for our global economy. And as a very strong supporter for free trade or flow, Hong Kong is, of course, a staunch supporter for global connectivity and multilateralism. And to that end, we will continue to expand our free trade agreement network and also our economic and trade offices network. And we will also continue to explore collaboration with governments along the Belt and Road. For example, over the past several months, even though we cannot quite physically bring trade delegations to overseas markets, but through a series of webinars, we have been doing some serious G2G talking and also business matching with governments, with Belt and Road countries like Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia. And of course, we have more in our pipeline. We will continue to have this kind of G2G dialogue. And here, I would like to emphasize, or I would like to stress the Hong Kong's position as a connecting channel between mainland China and also the rest of the world. China, as all of you know, is fostering a new development pattern of dual circulation. And with this new strategic direction, where the coordination between China's domestic and international markets will be stepped up to complement each other, Hong Kong's pivotal role in the pursuit of the Belt and Road Initiative will come into useful play in connecting and channeling the market opportunities at the domestic and also the international cycles mutually, and thereby unlocking tremendous business potential for both mainland China and also our Belt and Road partners. Now you may ask, how are we, the Hong Kong SAR government, going to help our industrialists and also our professional service practitioners to seize or to profit from such opportunities? Well, in the policy address announced a couple months ago, the chief executive stated that we will organize a high-level roundtable jointly with the State-Owned Asset Advisory and Administration Committee of the State Council to enhance our collective competitiveness to go global through mutual collaboration. We will also launch a Mingling Enterprises Partnership Exchange and Interface Program this year to facilitate exchange and networking that foster cooperation between Hong Kong professional service sector and Mingling enterprises. We will strengthen the capacity building on both sides and enhance the international outlook, market orientation, and professional standards of various projects. Over the past year, due to COVID-19 and also the trade war, we are seeing some increased regionalization of productions and diversification of supplier sources. And because of that, some Hong Kong-based manufacturers and exporters are poised to embark on new partnership, in particular with ASEAN countries. Industrial parks located in South and Southeast Asia can be the springboard for investment and trade partnerships, especially those economic and trade cooperation zones established by mainland China in this region. We understand that there is considerable interest among Hong Kong enterprises in exploring expansion in these cooperation zones. They are considered as ideal entry points by some of the Hong Kong enterprises in relocating their production plants by expanding abroad and also tapping the significant regional market. And exploration of opportunities at these cooperation zones will also facilitate our professional service sector in engaging and entering the Belt and Road market and enable them to tackle the challenges arising from the present international trade environment. We will be working closely with relevant authorities in these countries to further promote the investment partnerships. In particular, my bureau, CEDB, is working in conjunction with the local chambers of commerce and also the industrial organizations to try out some business matching on a pilot basis for some interested Hong Kong companies and a few selected selected industrial parks in ASEAN, so as to realize the mutual benefits to the fullest. When the COVID-19 situation subsides, we will be leading some trade missions to visit these cooperation zones to look at the development plans. Ladies and gentlemen, COVID-19 has brought unprecedented challenges to every economy. And for us to survive or revive, we have to work together because not one single economy can fight the virus and build a healthy and sustainable future alone. So it will be crucial for us to join hands with our economic partners to look for new opportunities and growth engines. We cannot wait to press ahead at full steam when the COVID-19 situation subsides. Indeed, the development course of Hong Kong over the past several decades demonstrates that there lies new opportunities with new crises, and every difficulty holds the key to the new future development. Hong Kong is Asia's world city and an international financial market, and we are known for our resourcefulness and resilience. And we will only grow stronger with every crisis. With multicultural talents and extensive global connectivity, Hong Kong has much to offer, and our various contributions to the world will make a real difference during and after COVID-19. Today's symposium and the subsequent workshops is certainly a very nice platform to move us forward in achieving that goal. So my sincere thanks again to the organizer. I hope you all enjoy today's symposium and have a fruitful discussion. Thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Chen. So,
Well, with this encouraging remarks, okay, let us now come to the real stuff, the jewel of today. That is insight sharing sessions. May I invite the first speaker? Our first speaker, our sponsor, Mr. Anthony Lam. Yes, please.
Chairman, Dr. Chen, Mr. Jiu, Ms. Pyong, and Professor Linda, Professor Phyllis. And professors, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really honored to be able to speak here today. An interesting symposium and a very innovational, I'd say, workshop that we'll be heading. So when Mr. Chairman and Dr. Chen said they're from LaSalle, and I'm from the LaSalle brothers too, but I'm from St. Joseph's, a little bit older than LaSalle, and also City University. So, do I press this? All right. So what I will do is that I will introduce the group, and some insight sharing, and some opportunities and risks into this area. So the Golden Resources Group was established in 1946, and we are a 75 years rice trader. So in the past, we primarily dealt with rice from Southeast Asian countries. So we have milling facilities, and we invest in a lot of agricultural heartland in these countries with PPP projects, property development projects, ports and shipping projects, and also lately in Vietnam, we invest into the nationwide retail projects. Take a retail investment in Vietnam, we are running the Circle K convenience stores project. We currently have around 400 stores in 5 cities in Vietnam, including Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, Cần Thơ, Vũng Tàu, and Ha Long. We will be actually opening in Hai Phong later this year. Right. Our main aim is to go nationwide and go into all walks of life in Vietnam. So I'm going to share some insights into our investments in Vietnam and in other ASEAN countries as well, because we have, apart from Vietnam, we also invest in Thailand, in Malaysia, and in Cambodia. We need to know that, we need to know that we are guests of these countries. So we are always the guests to these countries, and we should not only be looking for having profit from these countries. We need to give back to the society. We often call the corporate social responsibility. You give and you take, and you don't just take from our hosts. We have delivered a good corporate culture and create good company culture that is easy to understand and communicate with our staff. We have also a CSR idea to pass to our staff, which including caring, sharing, and learning, and also the fresh, friendly, fast, and full ideas. We need to respect the local culture. So not only just bring the Hong Kong culture into these countries, but also we have to respect their culture. For example, I always ask my staff not to refer to a Chinese New Year during the Lunar New Year in Vietnam, because it is Tet in Vietnam. We have to be localized. We have to know the local tradition. It is Tet and not Chinese New Year. So we have a lot of staff from Hong Kong actually working in Vietnam, and everyone, I always tell them that we have to respect the local cultures. We must respect the local law. Maybe Melissa later can share some of the ideas of the laws. We should not engage in any illegal work in these host countries, not even in gray areas. All documents, application, licenses, and tax must be properly paid. If it is not right, don't do it. Otherwise, sooner or later, it will come back and bite you. As an overseas investors, we have the duty to respect the laws of both local country and also the listicle requirement in Hong Kong. For the language, I believe we must respect the colleagues in their country. Our official language is always English around all our companies. So even speaking among the Hong Kong expatriates in ASEAN countries, it is English that we must speak. Because all the staff must understand each other. There will be no secret or nothing talked behind people's back. So we have to be open. So this is also one of my requirements to any of the staff going to station overseas. Communications in our retail project through our 400 stores and with around 5,000 staff, we try to have regular direct communications with the frontline staff as well. We have monthly briefing sessions from the CEO directly to the store managers. The management work a shift in stores every year. That means everybody from the office will have to work in the store for 1 day each year. We have a good team building system and staff functions like visiting our suppliers, social work, and fun run recently in Vietnam. Also, we also issue corporate newsletter, the group corporate newsletter. So apart from our staff actually knowing about the company, it is also important for their family to know about the company. Why are they actually working 24 hours, like working a night shift? Are they just going out to play or real work? So these are some of the information we're going to pass to the families as well. With communications, we should also empower our staff to make decisions and take responsibilities. Our staff are always being treated as equals. I would recommend the headquarters to treat all expats and local staff as equal. This is the culture and working environment that will retain our talents. Do not divide into expats benefit and local benefits. They are all the same. They are all our staff. And it is not wise to segregate staff into different levels in this age. Everyone that possesses the ability should be given to the same position with the same compensation. Modern retailing is relatively new in Vietnam, which consists of only 22% of the total retail trade. We call this modern trade. 78% is still traditional trade. Hence, we need to build in the expertise from overseas, Hong Kong, Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, which has deep modern retail talents into Vietnam. However, we must also share our international knowledge with the local staff about the newest retail management technology, as we need good local professional staff to help in expanding our business nationwide. We have derived staff enhancing programs such as the management training programs, HRDP, which is the HR development program, a heart-to-heart program with services. We give opportunities and we have a clear career path to all our staff. For example, our store managers can be moved into area managers, which look after 8 stores, and then to direct operation manager, which look after 35 stores, and then operation controller, regional director. One of our MT, the management trainee, has already been promoted to operation manager after 5 years in the company. We have management trainees and we have professional managers as well. So I would also say we have to be professional in working in these countries and bring in international standards and thinking into the company culture. In a lot of the Southeast Asian countries, in Vietnam particularly, literacy rate is very high. With the modern internet and information flow, do not underestimate the local talents. If you beat around the bush, they will know. Set good KPI for them, create professional milestone, and give them opportunities to enhance themselves, from professional development
to overseas business participations. As Mr. William Kahn in 1990 wrote, employee engagement culture. Engaged employees are committed employees, and committed employees are high-performance employees. But of course, I believe in the future of ASEAN countries, especially with links to the Belt and Road initiatives. Joining the RCEP and CTPP will surely enhance Vietnam's important role amongst ASEAN countries in the next decade. A lot of Belt and Road investment from China are for infrastructure based. This has followed the exact successful path that China grew on. Without the infrastructure enhancement, logistic and basic production needs cannot be met. And this will take the country a lot longer to grow. Infrastructure such as roads, ports, power will make it more attractive for FDI to invest in the manufacturing sector of the country, which will drive the development of that country. China's SOEs will help building the infrastructure, and the next stage will be the private enterprises and the SMEs that help to further grow the economy. Hong Kong government's reindustrialization 4.0 aims for strengthening Hong Kong manufacturing and industry sector, which includes design, IP, and technology. A lot of Hong Kong companies are investing in GBA and ASEAN countries. We need a broadened scope for professionals, not only in Hong Kong, and such opportunities should be the key focus of Hong Kong professionals. For example, the IAC versus the accounting standards of the ASEAN countries, or the gap between the common law and the different laws in the ASEAN countries. That will be in great demand in the future. This is also capturing Hong Kong as a regional and international finance center. Hong Kong can also be served as an SPV home for the investing in the Belt and Road projects. And of course, we talk about risks as well. There's always country risks, such as currency risk, political risk, we call it the financial flow risk, material flow risk, and also information flow risk. But we always have the risk mitigation procedures to overcome that. That's a bit academic on that. For Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Cambodia, and those countries we have been in, I see very low risk in such investments. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Anthony. For leveraging on your extensive involvement overseas in the various countries, okay, and your sharing covers both micro corporate levels, okay, down to how we should manage our staff and our relations with our customers and the local society, to analysis of country risks in the region. So thanks so much, and have I think that would be a lot of insights. Okay, so the second speaker in our sharing session, focusing on opportunities and challenges in overseas projects, is David White of China Merchants Enterprises. And David will join us through Zoom because he's now in Shenzhen. David, are you here? Hello, so I pass the time to you.
Hi, Professor Lee. Yeah, I can hear.
Yes, okay. David, the slide will be in English and Chinese. Okay, thank you. David, on to you.
好的，谢谢。Chairman Huang, Dr. Chen, Professor Lee, 各位来宾，各位女士们、先生们，大家上午好。首先呢，非常感谢香港城市大学香港持续发展研究中心的邀请。首先呢，我想祝贺这一次这个 PASS 论坛的成功的开幕，也希望后面呢能够顺利的举行下去。那围绕这一次 论坛交流的主题呢，我想跟大家分享的呢，就是招商局集团立足香港拓展海外业务的实践。那么招商局集团呢是一家在1872年，其实是在晚清的洋务运动时期就成立的公司。那么1873年呢，我们就开始在香港经营。所以其实招商局集团呢，它既是一家历经了晚清、民国和新中国3个时期的国资企业，但同时呢，它更是一家跨越了3个世纪历史非常悠久的香港的中资企业。那么经过近1个半世纪的发展，那招商局集团呢，其实已经从最初的经营航运业务，到发展成了今天主要呢涉及3个业务的领域。第一个呢就是综合交通和基础设施，那这呢就包括像港口、物流、航运、造船和公路。第2块呢就是地产和园区，那比如我们在上环的酒店公寓，还有像一些住宅的项目，包括和香港隔海相望的深圳蛇口，以及呢我们今天可能会重点说的就是在海外现在有4个经贸园区。那第3块的这个业务领域呢，就是我们的金融业务。那招商局的金融业务呢，现在已经是涵盖了从银行、证券、保险、支投和多种金融，全排到全生命周期的综合金融业务。比如说大家知道的像招商银行啊，还有像香港的这个招商永隆啊，都是我们金融板块里的非常重要的组成部分。那从2019年招商局集团发展的情况看呢，整个公司的总的资产规模呢已经达到了9.1万亿人民币，然后呢，那么营业收入呢达到了7100多亿人民币，那净利润呢也是达到了1266亿人民币。实际上前2天我刚刚有看到，就是按照我们的测算呢，到2020年，这个我们的总资产实际上已经超过了10万亿人民币。营业收入呢也是超过了8000亿人民币。所以总的来说，招商局集团逐步的发展成为一个综合性产业的跨国企业集团。这个当中有很多的原因，有很多的机会，但是其中有很重要的一条就是招商局始终呢是立足香港，运用和借助香港的多方面的优势来积极的拓展海外业务。那其实今天的招商局不管是集团的运营总部，还是我们旗下的一些很重要的2级公司的总部，依然都设置在香港。那近几年呢，招商局的国际化业务呢，其实主要是围绕一带一路展开的。围绕一带一路呢，其实我们重点就做3件事情。第一件事情呢，就是在全球投资运营港口。第2件事情呢，就是发展综合物流服务，去构建我们的综合物流服务的这个网络。第3件事情呢，就是投资运营海外的经贸园区。那当然在这个当中呢，我们也是在不断的去探索、去推广我们招商局特有的这个Port Park and City 这个 circle 模式 PPC 模式的这样一种园区开发的商业模式。那么在港口领域呢，招商局现在呢，在27个国家投资运营了呢68个港口，这个当中呢，包括像斯里兰卡的科伦坡汉班托塔港，还有像土耳其的这个伊斯坦布尔港的昆波特码头，还有像吉布提、澳大利亚的纽卡索，还有巴西等等一些重要的港口的这个位置。那当然，其实在这些项目当中啊，其实很多的港口都不是招商局完全独立去投资的。那么我们是跟来自于像法国啊、澳大利亚、阿曼呐一些其他不同国家的商业伙伴共同合作来实现这样一个投资。其实刚刚在去年，我们还跟这个法国的大飞海运一块呢，又新增了10个码头，像现在我们这个运营网络里面的新加坡港啊，还有像这个泰国的林查班港啊，这些都是跟法国的投资者一块来完成的。所以实际上大家看到就是 与不同的或者说多元化的合作伙伴来共同参与“一带一路”进行海外投资啊，这样一种风险共担、利益共享的方式，也是招商局在进行海外投资、控制海外投资风险的一个重要的方式。那么在物流服务方面呢，招商局一直在不断的投资和完善我们在“一带一路”沿线的物流服务网络。那招商局旗下呢有这个 Sinotrans 作为我们综合物流服务的一个统一品牌。那 Sinotrans 呢其实也是中国目前最大的综合物流运营商。那最早的时候到这个90年代 DHL 进入中国的时候，实际上也是通过跟 Sinotrans 合作来进入中国的。那么目前我们在全球范围内呢已经构建了96家自营的海外物流的服务机构啊。当然除了我们讲的这个网络以外呢，很有特色的一点就是招商局还特别去参与运营了中欧班列，就是通过集装箱国际铁路联运的方式呢，把中国的重要城市和欧洲的重要城市呢连接起来。比如说我们从这个重庆啊、成都啊，还有像武汉啊，到德国、波兰、西班牙的主要城市，现在大约已经实现了，就是中国有40多个城市和欧洲的42个城市呢，都已经实现了互联。那么现在目前招商局在整个中欧班列的市场当中的占有率呢，超过了12%。那么第3个方面呢，其实就是前面提到的，就是招商局在海外投资运营的这个海外园区。那招商局的海外园区呢，我们更多的呢是依托我们的港口，运用我们的这个 PPC 模式，凭借我们其实花费了将近40年的时间在开发深圳蛇口工业区的这个经验，我们把它呢分享推广到海外去，推广到呢这个“一带一路”沿线国家。那么目前呢，我们在白俄罗斯、吉布提、斯里兰卡还有老挝呢这些地方呢都投资运营有呢开发园区，正在积极的去探索和实践呢我们这个 PPC 的模式。当然刚刚提到的这个 PPP 模式，其实这个也不是一天产生的，而是呢我们在经过了其实40年的时间，在深圳呢开发这个蛇口工业区积累起来的。大家可以看到现在的这张幻灯片，在1979年，招商局呢，作为第一批的这个创业者来到了与这个香港隔海相望的这个深圳蛇口。那当时的蛇口呢，还是一个很小的渔村，没有水，没有电，也没有一条呢像样的路。那么，所以我们在蛇口的做的第一件事情呢，就是建港口。那么因为有了港口呢，就可以满足原材料和产品进出口的需要，也就可以吸引呢外来的投资者。那么所以呢，这张幻灯片上最左边的这张照片呢，就是当时我们做的第一件事情，就是投资兴建了这个港口。那么有了港口以后呢，我们又在这个基础上呢，去畅通了道路、水、电力还有电话。那么这样呢，我们就具备了招商引资的条件，所以我们在港口后面呢，就建立了这个产业园区。那么这里呢，就是看到的这个第2张的图片。那么在有了园区以后呢，随着人越来越多，各种各样的产业越来越多呢，随着这个工业区的发展，那么就需要配套的金融、保险、住宅，还有一些商业服务。因此呢，我们呢又在这个基础上进一步的去激发出了很多其他的产业，像大家知道的招商银行啊，还有像平安啊，还有招商地产啊，这些企业其实都是当初从这个经营园区的时候啊，一步一步孕育孵化出来的。那到了今天呢，这一块地方这个蛇口园区已经发展成为了一个现代化、国际化的这个滨海新城，整个的产业呢也都实现了这个飞跃。现在呢主要是以像科技啊，还有这个文化产业为主。整个地区的这个人均 GDP 呢已经超过了6万美元。所以我想经过40年的这样的一个发展，我们得来的这个经验啊，也是招商局在投资运营海外园区的时候一个非常有特色的商业逻辑。那由于时间的关系呢，所以在这里呢，我想重点的呢就是分享2个招商局海外园区的这个案例。那么第一个呢就是这个 Greystone China Belarus 的这个工业园区。那么这个园区呢，我们是在2015年的时候投资 参股的。那这个园区的一个特点呢，就是我们是因地制宜，根据 Belarus 当地的这个情况啊，去找准它的这个园区本身的产业的定位，然后呢，再全力的发展产业聚集。因为大家都知道，其实白俄罗斯这个地方呢，它是以电子信息的这个技术发达呢，是一个很强的优势。所以呢，我们就围绕这个优势，立足电子信息、机械制造，还有包括像这个精细化工等等一些产业来打造了这个中白工业园这个高新技术园区。那整个这个园区的面积呢，大约是91.5平方公里，当然所处的位置呢也非常的重要，处于这个丝绸之路经济带的重要的这个一个节点位置，中欧班列呢也是走这里通过。那么在投资中白工业园以后呢，我们又在园区里面呢，建立了一个中白商贸物流园。那么这个园区呢是投资了1.5亿美元。那建立这个中白商贸物流园的这个项目呢，其实主要是2个作用，一个呢就是本身服务于中白工业园，为园区呢提供像仓储的服务啊、物流的服务啊、交易展示啊、酒店服务啊等等，为了能够更好的促进呢中白工业园的发展。第2个作用呢，就是本身呢这个中白商贸物流园呢，也是作为招商局物流服务网络在欧亚区域的一个重要的节点，特别是对中欧班列的支持。所以这个也是招商局海外业务的一个特点，就是除了这个项目本身以外，那么可能投资的这些项目呢，它在整个招商局的这个产业的网络里面啊，也是会有一些其他的协同的作用。那目前中白工业园的整个的这个产业聚集效应啊，应该讲已经得到了比较好的体现。现在呢，整个入园的企业呢，已经达到了近70家，那么意向的投资额呢，超过了12亿美元。那么在前年，我们还引入了德国的这个一家公司，德国杜伊斯堡港公司呢，作为我们的股东，一起呢投资入股了中白工业园，也让我们的整个的这个股东的架构呢更加的多元化。那第2个案例呢，就是吉布提国际自贸区。那么吉布提国际自贸区呢，也是招商局目前在海外完整的按照这个 Port Park 和 City 的这个模式在实践的一个海外园区。那这个园区最大的特点呢，就是它的地理位置呢十分的优越。大家可以看到从地图上，那吉布提呢从陆上来看，那么处于整个欧亚非3个大洲的这个要塞，也是背后呢就是欧洲经济非常发达的这个国家之一埃塞俄比亚。那么从海上来看呢，它位于这个欧亚航线的咽喉的位置。那么全球实际上经过这里的这个航运量啊，占到全球总量的应该在1/3左右。那我们在吉布提的投资呢，实际上也是从港口开始的。那么2012年呢，招商局就投资了吉布提港，就是这里大家看到的这个 Old Port 的这个位置。投资以后呢，吉布提港的这个利润呢增长非常快，但是很快呢，这个老的港口呢就不能够满足当地的市场需求了。那所以呢，就出现了需要把港口转型升级的需要。那当时呢有2个考虑，一个呢就是在原地进行升级，那么一个呢就是说选另外一个地方建立新港。那么经过考证之后呢，我们选择了第2个方案。那么在距离老的港口大约5-6公里的地方呢，新建了一个现代化的港口。那么新港口建立以后呢，老港口的地方呢就可以腾出来用于城市开发，开发商业、办公、酒店还有旅游设施等，变成了吉布提新的这个商业中心。那么在2016年的年底呢，也是在吉布提总理的这个见证之下，那么招商局呢就和吉布提正式启动了关于国际自贸区的这个建设。在2018年的7月呢，国际自贸区呢这个1期的起步区呢就正式的开园运营了。当时呢也是有7个国家的这个欧洲的国家元首呢参加了开幕仪式。那在他们看来，吉布提这个国际自贸区不仅仅是吉布提当地的自贸区，它更是整个非洲的自贸区。那预计未来呢，吉布提自贸区呢可以为整个这个地区呢创造大约10万人的这个就业岗位。那除了上面说到的2个呢， 2个园区以外呢，我们在斯里兰卡呢依托这个哈曼托塔港，也在建立临港的开发区，还有呢就是在这个老挝万象呢有一个做塞瑟塔综合开发区。那么这个塞瑟塔的综合开发区呢，这个呢不是招商局投资的，那么招商局呢是根据这个老挝塞瑟塔园区的业主方的邀请呢，作为园区的运营商加入的。那现在这个园区呢，也是经营的很不错，目前呢已经有90家企业入园了，而且呢我们还特别引入了这个龙头的企业，就是日本豪雅这家光学的公司呢，进入园区，希望围绕这个豪雅的这个产业呢，来进一步的完善整个园区的这个产业链。当然，也有香港的企业呢入园了这个园区。那么在最后呢，我想回到开头的时候我提到的，就是招商局整个的这个海外业务的发展，实际上是离不开香港优势的。作为一家100年的这个企业，招商局在香港的这个成功经验，我觉得就很好的展示和诠释了香港具有的这些优势。那我想有这么几个优势呢，是我觉得特别需要关注的。第一个呢，就是香港本身有非常便利的融资环境。实际上香港的这个金融机构凭借其强大的金融实力和这个香港资金进出自由的这个便利性和多元的这个渠道呢，为整个招商局在海外项目的这个投资当中呢，也是提供了很多好的这个建议和服务。像我们在收购斯里兰卡的这个哈曼托塔港，还有巴西的港口，还有澳洲的项目的时候呢，都是选用了香港的这个金融机构提供的一些很好的方案。第二个方面就是香港独特的这个人才优势。那么不管是营商的环境，还是说香港的这个本身的这个中西文化交汇的这样的一个环境都十分适合呢人才吸引。所以我想招商局呢也正是借助了香港人才聚集的这个优势，才能够去吸引来自不管是这个亚洲还是欧洲还是来自于美国的这些人才那么一块来加入招商局，形成了这样一个国际化的团队。那么最后呢，就是香港所具有的很特别的这个专业服务优势。其实我看到后面的这个第二个主题里面的演讲的这些嘉宾呢，都是专业服务这个领域的这个精英和代表者。那么整个的这一块的优势呢，也是在招商局拓展海外业务当中呢，应该讲提供了非常大的帮助。那最后呢，我想说的就是其实“一带一路”不仅仅是招商局的机会，其实也是香港巩固对外开放、取得新发展的一个重要机会。那么香港呢，作为“一带一路”这个海上丝绸之路的一个重要节点，那凭借其国际金融中心的这样的一个优势，将来是可以发展成为“一带一路”建设的金融枢纽、投资平台和服务的桥梁。那么招商局呢，也非常的期待和更多的香港企业一起呢，携手的参与“一带一路”的商机。谢谢。
Thanks, David. Thanks, David, for very informative overview of China Merchants Group's involvement in various overseas jurisdictions. We will come back to CMG's various initiatives in our subsequent professional training workshops. For instance, Sri Lanka and Djibouti and Belarus, those examples that David outlined to us, we'll also, cover and discuss further in our subsequent workshops. So I look forward to more sharing by David and his colleagues in these overseas jurisdictions in due course. Now we have we should move on to the second theme of our sharing sessions, insight sharing sessions, which we will cover the professional services sectors. Now we have today we have 3 distinguished sectors, speakers from the professional services, from the financial and accounting sectors, legal sector, and also engineering and business chamber, respectively. So without further ado, may I invite Johnson? Okay, Johnson Kwok from Hong Kong ICPA to address us and share with us his vision and observations of the challenges facing the financial and accounting sectors. Thank you.
Greetings to Chairman Huang, Professor Lee, Professor Mo, Dr. Chan, Consul Generals, guest speakers, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm very honored to have been invited to be a speaker representing the Hong Kong Institute of Certified Public Accountants at this symposium. I've been given the topic, opportunities for the accountancy industry, to speak on today. So what I'm going to do is okay. Well, we're resolving a technical problem here. Thank you very much. So my presentation actually will cover the following. First of all, I'll give a very brief introduction of the Hong Kong Institute of Certified Public Accountants and also the attributes of the Hong Kong professional accountants. And then I'll cover the Hong Kong advantages, or should I say the competitiveness of Hong Kong, which in turn create abundant opportunities for the profession. And then I'll cover the opportunities and the kind of main services that are provided by the Hong Kong accounting industry, in particular relevant to the Belt and Road Initiative. And lastly, I'll talk about some challenges and some risks that we face along the Belt and Road Initiative. Well, the Hong Kong Institute of CPA actually was established back in January 1973. So we have a history of some 48 years now. And over the last 48 years, actually, the Hong Kong Institute of CPA has developed into a first-class professional accounting association globally. And we're very well recognized. And the ICPA is actually the only statutory accounting body in Hong Kong, and we have a few very important roles. First of all, we are the licensing body, so we license our member to undertake, say, audit work. And also we run the examinations, professional examinations, so we issue qualifications for accountants, and we are the standard setters. We set standards for auditing standards, accounting standards, and ethical standards. And we also obviously regulate our members. If our members have problems with their professional conducts, then those will be dealt with by the Institute. And as a professional body, we are also a membership body, and we provide member services to our members. As at the November last year, we have a total number of members, 46,000 plus. And considering the population in Hong Kong, which is about 7.4 million, if you divided that by the number of accountants, so actually on average, we have one CPA amongst 160 Hong Kong people. And this 160 includes children and also the retired. So you can see that our concentration ratio is very, very high. And that actually in turn proves that Hong Kong is truly a world international financial center. We have something like 18,000 students, probably it matches the students that CityU have. And we have the total of over 1,900 CPA practices. And in fact, this number, 1,900, majority of this CPA practices, they are SMPs, what we call the small and medium practices. In fact, over 75–80% are SMPs. And I'll come back to that later on when we talk about the challenges about providing services, to Belt and Road countries. And we are a member of IFAC, which is the International Federation of Accountants. It's a global professional accounting association, which has 170 members from 135 countries. And the importance of being a member is that we adopt the international auditing standards, we adopt the international ethical standards, and also in Hong Kong, we adopt the international financial reporting standards and accounting standards issued by the International Accounting Standard Board as well. So that makes it very important because the Hong Kong accountants, we are conversant with international standards. And that is one of our attributes. And in addition, our accountants in Hong Kong, we are multi language people, and also we have international experience in advising foreign corporations and enterprises, and we understand the PRC culture as well, and that's very important. And the range of services, diversification of services that we provide by our accountants in Hong Kong, all these attributes make it very important for the accountants to get involved in the Belt and Road Initiative. So next, I'm going to talk about the Hong Kong competitiveness, which I mentioned before in terms is very important because of this competitiveness and advantages in turn create a lot of opportunities for not only the accounting profession, but the legal profession and other professions as well. First of all, the proximity to mainland China. And actually, Hong Kong obviously is located at the on the south coast of China with easy access to all the major mainland cities. And it is the gateway for mainland China. Should I say a gateway to mainland China for global businesses. And on the other hand, it is also the springboard for mainland enterprises to reach international markets. And another important role is actually we are the gateway to the Greater Bay Area, the GBA. And in fact, I still remember one of the initiative taken by the commissioner of the GBA in Hong Kong, who is Dennis Yip. He wants to create Hong Kong as a hub for international business going into GBA to tap into opportunities in GBA. I think that would actually create a lot of opportunities for accountants in Hong Kong. Talking about internationality, Hong Kong is ranked amongst the top performers globally in international experience and availability of a skilled global workforce. I think that's been mentioned by some of the speakers before as well. And we are home to large professional service clusters with extensive global networks and relations. So we have a lot of very multinationals, accounting firms, law firms in Hong Kong, and that is very useful for the BRI initiative. And Hong Kong is also the preferred base for multinationals, International Chamber of Commerce, global organizations and media companies as well. A lot of headquarters are set up in Hong Kong, or based in Hong Kong. And also because of our legal system, which is really based on common law, it makes it an ideal place as a regional hub for legal services and dispute resolutions as well. I'm sure Lisa later on would cover that area as well. Talking about connectivities to Asia and beyond, we are Hong Kong within a 5 hours flight from half of the world's populations, the Asia Pacific region. And we are the international logistic hub with world-class infrastructure. And we are one of the world's busiest and most efficient container ports. And we are also the regional transport and communication hub with an award-winning airport and state-of-the-art information and also telecommunication network. Talk about the quality and diversity of services. I think most of us know, in fact, Hong Kong is the world's most service-oriented economy, with services accounting for more than 90% of our GDP in Hong Kong. And we have a very vibrant capital market offering diversified fundraising channels, talk about green finance. Over the past few years, Hong Kong has also been taking leading steps in promoting green development and investment in sustainable assets. We are also the global offshore renminbi trade settlement center and also a financing and asset management service center connecting regions along the Belt and Road. And we are experienced in assisting mainland China enterprises, project sponsors, lenders, and private equity funds in structuring and financing public-private partnerships such as ports, highways, and power plants, as mentioned by another speaker earlier on. Under synergy, what I want to talk about is actually Asia is the second largest private equity center. We manage about 20% of the total capital pool in the region. So funding is really a big source here in Hong Kong. And we are also the largest source of foreign direct investment for the mainland China. And as I mentioned before, we are the regional fund and asset management center, and we also offer one-stop services, professional services, not only the accountants and the lawyers, but also for logistics, shipping, telecommunications, construction, and engineering, and to meet the project needs of the Belt and Road initiative. For for efficiency and flexibility, and Hong Kong actually is ranked the world's freest economy and the 5th easiest place in the world to do business. Efficient business environment supported by a stable and fully convertible currency and the absence of exchange controls. We have a very low tax rate and simple tax regime. And also there's a free flow of information, capital, and talents. So all in all, these attributes of Hong Kong, or advantages of Hong Kong, makes Hong Kong the ideal partner and help Chinese international business to expand the business, or should I say global footprint. Regarding the services provided by the Hong Kong accountants, in fact, I'm referring to the professional accountant who are engaged in practices. I'm not talking about those accountants in the sort of what we call the professional accountants in business. So for the practicing accountants or providing professional services as a business, we have a whole range of services that we sort of focus on under the BRI initiative. And talk about, say, market entry strategy analysis. In fact, just very recently, talk about academic institutions. I have a client asking us to conduct a market survey, and actually the market entry survey to establish a college in Sri Lanka. So that is a very, very interesting project, and we have to ask our Sri Lankan video firm to undertake that work. And professional service firms are really critical to, for the investors, in particular the Chinese firms seeking to mitigate risk, conduct project due diligence, business restructuring, contract negotiation, labor and tax regulations, and the managed CSR obligation is also critical for BRI, given the large infrastructure projects may relocate communities, harm the environment, and also draw the attention of some social activists. Lastly, I would like to talk about the challenges that we may face. In particular, if we want to expand our market under the BRI initiative, we must have the right mindset to do. To develop strong strategies or to chart a new pathways actually requires vision, an open mind. We have to be venturous, and we have to go walk out of our comfort zone and be patient and resilient to continuously try and error. Talk about the building a platform and small and medium CPA practices, the limitations. And in fact, trying to tap into the BRI initiative is not really something for the SMPs in Hong Kong because they are too small. Belt and Road is too far away from them. It's really for the accounting firms, the larger ones, which really have the network, the affiliations along the Belt and Road countries. And I would venture to say probably in Hong Kong shouldn't be more than like 30 firms, which can really benefit from the BRI initiative because those firms that I mentioned, they will have the international affiliations, offices along the Belt and Road, which is really crucial for them to provide services to a client. And another matter which we need to deal with is really the split of profit, how to share the profit. Because taking the example I mentioned before, like setting up a college in Sri Lanka, I have an inquiry here in Hong Kong, but what do I know about Sri Lanka's education system or the requirements? I don't. So I have to refer the case to my firm in Sri Lanka. What do I get out of it? Because if really the client eventually wants to set it up, they do the market analysis. Obviously, the Sri Lankan firm provide the services, they charge for it. When they set up the college, they become the auditor. They charge for the audit fees. They become the tax representative. And so what do I get of it? So there must be a system, a platform for the firms to share, the profit or the fees in order to make it work. And this is what I mean by, we need to build a platform. The platform, including the team, the way to share fees, to do promotion and so on and so forth. That's very important. For political, economic, and cultural consideration, actually under here, I just want to mention a few points. It's quite sensitive, but it's actually, these are real challenges because of political influence. It makes the selection of projects quite unique in the sense that as a consequence, we may, or the investor may have to select projects which may not meet the so-called the minimum commercial return, and also the maximum bearable risk because of political influence. And of course, we have to talk about the increasing indebtedness of foreign countries, the environmental, social governance, transparent and anti-corruption projects, and also the lack of a level playing field for procurements for non-Chinese suppliers of public works. Because as you know, one would expect a lot of Chinese projects, they may want to have the investee countries to engage, the Chinese suppliers or Chinese contractor rather than, having the opportunity to select other contractors. So these are all the challenges which, as advisors, we need to face. Last but not least, the economic and trade cooperation zones. This zones actually set up or established by the mainland developer to expand production and embrace new markets. And the SMEs can, as mentioned by Dr. Chen earlier on, can leverage the ETCZs along the Belt and Road as alternative production basis to low raw material and labor costs, as well as to penetrate new markets. There are some 21 ETCZs endorsed by the Ministry of Commerce, but in one of the recent the policy address by the CE in November, actually I understand that the Ministry of Commerce and the Hong Kong government have jointly identified 5 ETCZs in Thailand, Malaysia, Cambodia, and Indonesia, and actually take the initiative of electronic toys and electrical products as a trial industry for expansion in those 5 ETCZs. And as professional advisors, we need to be careful about the risk management in this economic zones. In particular, obviously they offer a lot of preferential policies such as the exemption from tariff, exemption from tax or tax reductions, exchange control, and so on and so forth. So a lot of preferential policies, but we have to understand the preferential policy very well. Are there any conditions attached to it, preconditions and post-conditions? And are there any requirements on the total investment amount? Are there any specific industry and years of continuing operations to enjoy these policies? What about the land use right, the ownership of it? And the risk management of the administration approval process, and so on and so forth. So those are the areas which we really need to take care of if we want to venture into the ETCZ. So I'm sorry that I think I've taken all my time needed. But anyway, we can continue the discussion later on. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Johnson, for very insightful advice, especially towards the end. Okay, we talk about the risk and opportunities, and also I think yes, the keys is the attention to the details, right? A lot of details in relation to the various cooperation zones. How the investors should take care of them, and that's why we need a lot of professional advice. And then the legal aspect is certainly very important as part of that advice. So that's why we have Melissa here, okay, and Ms. Melissa Pang from Hong Kong Law Society. So we look forward to your sharing of your insights about participation of professional services from the legal sector. Thank you.
Good morning, Professor Linda Lee and your team, and Dr. Bernard Chan, Consulate Generals, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Law Society of Hong Kong, I'm very honored to be invited to this symposium today. This is a very important platform for exchange ideas and also sharing of insights. The Belt and Road Initiative and also the Greater Bay Area Development, they are the two most important national initiatives of China to promote exchange and cooperation among the international business community. And for Hong Kong's strength and advantages, I have to thank my accountant friend, former president of ICPA, Johnson, to have set a very good background, so I don't have to repeat myself. We all know about the strength of Hong Kong and how we serve to connect to the rest of the world. I would say, for those countries along the Belt and Road, we realize they involve different legal systems. Of course, Hong Kong is very familiar with the common law system, which many developed countries are practicing. But there are many civil law system and also Islamic law system. So we see there's a lot of differences. Those differences will affect different aspects in cross-border investment. We have to be aware of the differences of the local market rules and the requirement of local government. Because if you're not aware of it, that will surely bring you surprises, unexpected legal risk. And another point I would like to make is, I think if you're thinking of investing in along the Belt and Road, doing trade and investment, it's important to have the core principle of respect and inclusiveness. We have to understand people are different. They have different culture, different political system, different social system. We can't presume everything is the same. Although in law, I will share one thing. In law, there's a principle. If the principle is X in Hong Kong, okay. So if you are not sure, you think in another country, then in court, the presumption is their law will be the same as in Hong Kong. Of course, will adduce expert evidence to tell the court, the judge, that you can't presume the principle is the same because we adduced expert evidence of what the law is in another country. But it's very interesting. People do assume the way we do business in Hong Kong, you naturally presume it's like that when you go to another country. But as my good friend Anthony Lam has mentioned, you have to understand the local culture. Let's go to the next point about Hong Kong as a legal hub. We all know Hong Kong is very famous of our rule of law. We are well regarded in the world. And Hong Kong as a legal hub, we have a lot of strength, and we can provide one-stop legal services to different clients. We are professional service. We are providing professional legal service to clients. It's important that we know their needs and to cater for it. And also we follow our clients. The way they expand vertically and horizontally, we also try to help them. In the 2020 policy address by the CE, that's one very important point is it's about Hong Kong position as a legal hub and also as a dispute resolution hub. We have to take advantage of one country, two systems and the free jurisdiction. It's important for us to expand business opportunities in the Greater Bay Area and along the Belt and Road. That's why, in Hong Kong, we have been doing a lot of collaboration between different jurisdictions, different governments, and different parties. And for example, Law Society has been doing a lot of joint capacity building activities. I think it's important for us to know each other, know our counterparts, the law association and the lawyers in different jurisdictions, because we are a team. And another point I'll say, Hong Kong has the advantages. Although different countries, they practice different legal systems, but we work together as a team. And Hong Kong got the advantage, we can be the legal project center. We manage, the project can be have their brain right in Hong Kong. And then we engage lawyers in different jurisdictions to help out with it. Because you see nowadays, for a big transaction, it will involve law of different countries. And Hong Kong Law Society is actually ICPA, also professional bodies. We work for the best interest for our members, but at the same time, we are also a regulatory body. At the moment, as of December 2020, we have 10,759 Hong Kong practicing lawyers. And for law firms, we have 940 law firms. And you can see in Hong Kong, population of 7.4 million. So we'll say every 700 people, we got one lawyer. The local market is not big enough for so many lawyers. This ratio is very high. So that's why many lawyers, they're actually they're doing national trans-border work. So it's important for us to expand our pie so that lawyers can earn a good living. Also, Hong Kong is actually, for the past 25 years, we always have open door policy. We welcome competition. We welcome lawyers from all over the world to come to Hong Kong to practice, but to practice their own jurisdiction law, not Hong Kong local law. But the advantage is Hong Kong can provide a one-stop shop for them. In Hong Kong, such a small place, you can get legal advices from different jurisdictions. It makes it very easy and handy to do it. At the moment, we have 1,553 foreign lawyers from different jurisdictions, 33 different jurisdictions. And also we have 95 foreign law firms from 22 jurisdictions. So you can just check it up in the website. If you want to look for a French law firm, you can just go and check. They are available. And also because we have top quality local and international legal capability, Hong Kong lawyers, we can provide one-stop legal service to meet clients' needs. And in the area like fundraising, finance, securities, international trade, cross-border transaction, intellectual property, maritime law, etc. So it's a really wide range of service we can provide. Okay, talking about mature legal service, mature legal system. Actually, our Hong Kong as a legal hub, we do have a very mature legal system. Of course, under the principle of one country, two systems, we maintain our common law system. International community are familiar with that. And within China, we are the only common law jurisdiction. And also, the Hong Kong commercial case law is highly regarded. Yesterday, we attended the farewell sitting of Chief Justice Ma. There is a speech made by Lord Neuberger, and he mentioned like Hong Kong case law are well cited in UK, in Singapore, in Australia, and also Canada. Our judgment is very well respected. Hong Kong is well known for its transparency, judicial independence, and the respect of the rule of law. So we are ranked very high, you can just see on the PowerPoint. And also Department of Justice, they launched the Vision 2030, which is an initiative that go on for 10 years to promote and reinforce the rule of law. And when we talk about cross-border investment, Hong Kong lawyers can provide a lot of service to protect the rights of enterprise. So a lot of parties, when they get involved in cross-border deals, they'll choose Hong Kong law as the governing law. And also they choose Hong Kong as the place to conduct arbitration. So Hong Kong is a good platform for arbitration and also for mediation. And you can look at it because for arbitration and mediation, we have many international institutions in Hong Kong, and our Hong Kong is like a neutral dispute resolution venue. And our Hong Kong Law Society also got a panel of arbitrators. So if you're interested, you can check on our website and you can sort of choose an arbitrator to help with your case. And since 2015, Hong Kong has been among the top 5 preferred seats for arbitration globally. And we are also ranked at number 4 in the world for efficiency of legal framework in settling dispute, because we are efficient and a lot of people choose Hong Kong as the venue. And Hong Kong status as a dispute resolution center is further enhanced by the arrangement concerning mutual assistance in court-ordered interim measures in aid of arbitral proceeding by the courts of Mainland and the Hong Kong SAR. This came to effect October last year. So Hong Kong became the first jurisdiction outside Mainland China, where a seat of arbitration, the parties can administer can apply to Mainland court for interim measures. So it's very unique. Now we just look at the opportunities that is arising and open to the legal profession along the Belt and Road Initiative and the Greater Bay Area. So we can see there's a lot of collaboration stated in this, there's arrangement between the National Development and Reform Commission and the government of SAR for advancing Hong Kong's full participation and contribution in the Belt and Road Initiative. So under this arrangement, there's 26 collaboration measures. So the emphasis I'll put related to legal would be dispute resolution service. And also regarding the development in the Greater Bay Area, government has set up a Greater Bay Area Development Office. The aim is to implement the relevant work in Greater Bay because Hong Kong wants to take a lead in Greater Bay. So we just look at the new opportunities for the legal sector. The first one is all along is SIPA. The mainland, the SIPA is a free trade agreement. It opened up mainland market for the Hong Kong goods and service. And also the legal sector has been benefited from that. And the latest one is, it came out on 2019. The initiative allow Hong Kong legal practitioner to obtain practice qualification in the 9 Pearl River Delta municipalities in the Great Bay. So Hong Kong lawyers now, if they pass the special exam, then they can practice mainland law. So if you have any Hong Kong lawyers friend, you'll be realizing many of them are studying very hard these few weeks because they have to sit for the exam, which this is the first time coming up. It's supposed to cover at the end of the month. However, right now it's postponed because of the COVID-19 situation. And the next initiative I'll mention is about cross-border collaboration. I think it's very important along the in the Greater Bay Area. There'll be a lot of cross-boundary infrastructure development and also joint development of like I&T hub and also cooperation on modern service industry. So all this will provide opportunities for Hong Kong legal profession. The next one is about a special measure that is put forward in Tin Hoi. This is actually quite a breakthrough because it allows enterprises registered in Tin Hoi cooperation zone to choose their applicable law. They can consider choosing Hong Kong law when they enter into civil and commercial contracts. So you can see it's really a breakthrough because they allow you to have a choice to choose Hong Kong law. Because many Hong Kong businesses, they know Hong Kong law is reliable and they have the confidence in it. That's why when they can utilize this initiative, if they enter into civil and commercial contract, they can choose Hong Kong law. And also another very interesting initiative, which I think many businesses will be interested, is right now the DOJ is exploring to allow with mainland China to allow Hong Kong-owned enterprise to adopt Hong Kong laws and arbitration to be seated in Hong Kong. So I think there's some criteria. So first, it would be like a wholly owned Hong Kong enterprise in the Greater Bay Area. Then if it does, although it does not have any foreign related elements, they can choose the law of Hong Kong as the applicable law when they enter into civil and commercial contract. And also they can choose Hong Kong as the seat of arbitration. So it's very good because you're familiar with it, it makes it much easier. Okay, because the time is running short, so I just want to briefly tell you what Law Society of Hong Kong has been doing. Yes, I think besides a very important point is like legal technology. At the moment, like the legal sector is one of very traditional sector, but we are embracing technology. And at the moment, actually, because of the setup of eBrand, Hong Kong government has put forward like 150 million to support the development of this platform. So we have an online dispute resolution platform. So for cross-border dispute, we can do it online, mediation and arbitration. This is a very innovative project, which I think is very welcomed by all. Last, I would say the Law Society has close connection with many law associations along the Belt and Road. And you can see we have signed many MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with law associations in Greater China area and international. And also, we have held like 2 Belt and Road conference in May 2017 and September 2018. And just 2 months ago, we held the 3rd Belt and Road conference, but it's a virtual conference. So you can see like Hong Kong Law Society and the legal profession are doing a lot. Hope we can serve our clients much better. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Now we know, the legal framework is a lot of things ongoing. I think that is very important because the law always goes first, okay? Then we know that we have a very secure framework on which we can build our business, all right? So thank you so much. The last speaker, but very important, okay, that we have a representative from the Hong Kong General Chamber of Commerce, Nicholas Ho. The Hong Kong GCC is one of the most important chambers of commerce in Hong Kong. Including research and also explorations to overseas jurisdictions check out things out there. And Nicholas himself, he's a professional architect. He has a very extensive experience and engagement in these overseas jurisdictions. So without further ado, the time is yours, Nicholas.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me today. It's a pleasure to represent GCC in this symposium. I'll probably take a bit of time and share the slide with you. So GCC, as you mentioned, it's a very long-standing chamber of commerce in Hong Kong, one of the biggest. And the exciting thing about GCC is it's not just big corporates, but also a lot of SMEs in GCC as well. So they actually do represent a very vast spectrum of business activities and leaders in Hong Kong. So across the past few years, the Belt and Road Working Group in GCC has been traveling extensively from mainland to Belt and Road, from Asia to Africa, both physically and digitally. So fostering new business relationships and signing new MOUs and helping Hong Kong businesses to propel in the global scene. The other speakers, the other speakers today have very generously offered a very comprehensive analysis on Belt and Road and Hong Kong's edge, especially from the legality issues and also on the Hong Kong's intrinsic value. So I think for me, the only thing that I can add to the table is share my personal failures and also ongoing struggles along the Belt and Road as a experience sharing, and hopefully I wish I probably attended the symposium earlier so I can learn the proper way. But our company is an SME based in Hong Kong doing architectural designs for 40 years. We've been in mainland for about 35 years, and we have been in Belt and Road for about 5 years now. So we have always embodied that entrepreneurial spirit in Hong Kong, and we always wanted to diversify markets and export Hong Kong professional services and design services along the Belt and Road. So we pride ourselves as a one-stop professional service firm from design, project management, interiors, and also subsequent operation as well. We have done over 1 billion square feet of projects in 50 cities and over 10 countries in the past 40 years. But going forward, just that model itself, we find it very restrictive and have a huge problem on scalability. And I think as different markets mature, where we sharpen our skills in Hong Kong or mainland in the past, now it's time for us to really look forward and to open new markets along the Belt and Road for our next 40 years, so to speak. So for us, when we go abroad in professional services, it has always been about the art of problem solving. I think Hong Kong professional services pride ourselves because we are very good problem solver, whether it is a people-to-people problem, a G2B problem, a B2B problem, we're able to resolve it across different markets and jurisdictions. So when we take that sort of experience and try to export it to the Belt and Road, our personal experience actually tell me that there's a lot of things that we think we're good at. We have very good skills and experience in mixed use and TOD related developments in Hong Kong and mainland. But when we try to take these skill sets to Belt and Road, whether it is ASEAN or elsewhere, it doesn't mean that that's what they need at this point of time. So for us, we have a short adjustment period. It's because we've done many projects in mainland and Hong Kong, whether it is infrastructure related or mixed use or cultural, doing different spaces and cities. But when we take these perspectives and go to these new economies or developing economies, we found out that that's not what they want and that's not what they need today. So for us, we have to climatize very, very quickly. We have to really understand what the local market needs today and tomorrow, but not in 5 to 10 years time. And that's sort of, I think for us as an SME, the good thing about Hong Kong SME is that we're very agile. We're able to learn very, very quickly and to try to pivot our role to the local market. So these are some of the projects we've done in mainland, back then in 20 to 30 years ago. And these are so we have a experience as Hong Kong professional going into the mainland market and really sharpen our skills and benefited from the boom in the past 30 years. So we tried to go to overseas, and we started with ASEAN. These are some of the projects in mainland. I'll just quickly go through it. And when we started going into Malaysia, it's our first Belt and Road city since about 6 years ago. And we opened an office there, and I was a little bit younger back then. And I remember my father told me, are you sure? Open a new office, not easy. And my father has done it multiple times in his lifetime. And I said, sure, because I was young and naive. Well, I am still very young and naive. And then I said, yeah, sure. And then we went over, and within 2 weeks, the ringgit crashed 40%. And then Malaysia entered into the Southeast Asia recession period. So talking about failures and lessons, I think I've definitely done my fair share. And I think for us and as a Hong Kong professional, at that point of time, it's whether to really cut loss and come back or really to stay over there and to make it work. So I lived in Southeast Asia for more than 2 years. I still travel constantly before COVID. And now from the Malaysian office, we're able to extend our market sector to 6 countries in Southeast Asia with Malaysia and Philippines as a base. And I think for us, and I think for us, we constantly try to learn from our mistakes. I wish I learned as fast as I make them, but we just have to get by. I think one of the biggest challenges we faced in ASEAN is when we look at it from a very high level point of view, it's roughly half the population of mainland or slightly less than half. And then we thought, oh, it must be an up and coming big market. And then so I just dived right in without really studying it in detail, which in retrospect I should have. And what we've learned is, although ASEAN itself is a huge market, but it is separated and fragmented by numerous religion, language, legal system, political cycles, and many other stakeholders' interests within that. And just talking about political risk, as some of the speakers have, each country has their own presidential election at different cycles. They have their own professional city election at different cycles, and their own city mayor or department election different cycles. So at any point in Southeast Asia, there is an election going on somewhere. And by that definition, there will be restructuring, there will be certain delays, there will be certain considerations when pushing a project forward. So for us, I think in the past 6 years working in different economies, for us, diversification is as much as a risk as it is a must, because only by truly diversifying into different markets, we can only mitigate our own risk. Because as SMEs, we are not capable to build a large team. We're not capable to put in a currency hedge in the market to protect us. So the old-fashioned, low-maintenance, simple way is purely to diversify our markets. So we are in Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam today. And most of the projects are actually dealt in local currency as well. As much as we would love to use other currencies, it's a very localized market. And I think for us, we're quite lucky because in the very beginning, we started off our experience with close friends. So I think the second lesson that we learned is partnerships. So we started with the closest of friends, consultants, partners in Hong Kong, in mainland, that already have business in Belt and Road and already started to begin to look into Belt and Road. So we basically piggyback each other on ideas, on projects, on partnerships into these market sectors and getting into the right market that we feel like we have the value add to it. So this project is in Philippines. We worked on it for a long time, and this project actually, although it's in the city of Manila, right in the middle of the city of Manila, a reclamation project, but it has received something like a ETCZ status. So we're able to negotiate with the local government on the client's behalf. We're able to do public consultation with a local university, to the local market, and we're able to work with local technology institute to create a new vision on the smart city for Philippines. So I think for us, working on different projects in these different regions really open our eyes, because we're no longer just a professional. We are no longer just an architect doing one thing very well, but we are required to be more of a generalist, working in these fast-paced changing economies. And I think one of the things that Hong Kong is good at is because we're exposed to so many experiences and services in Hong Kong that if we have trouble in certain stream, we can easily call up a friend and say, hey, we have this problem. Can we work together? Can we partner up? And then we can go abroad. So I think friendship and partnerships has become a very important strategy for us when going forward. And so this is the Philippine projects, which we're very lucky. We have received huge amount of support from the Hong Kong and Filipino government. And we signed numerous MOUs with the president in order to push this ahead with an underwriting on how much employment we are creating in the future. So we're very lucky. Hong Kong Trade Development Council and also supported this. This is a project in Thailand, in EEC, which is economic free trade zone south of Bangkok. So we are very lucky. We have the full support of former Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Somkit and push forward. So I think for us as an architect, as a designer of building spaces and cities going forward, we're very much understand the importance of policy, how policy and business come together. And I think Belt and Road has a huge misconception, because people often think, oh, it's Belt and Road, then there must be a lot of opportunities. I should just wait and the opportunities come to me. It actually doesn't work like that. So Belt and Road is a very, very good campaign, generating a lot of interest and attentions to do very meaningful projects. But at the same time, these sort of infrastructure meaningful projects will open up commercial opportunities on more a periphery level. So I think without Belt and Road, Hong Kong businesses have always been abroad since 30, 50 years ago. But with Belt and Road, what we can see is a local government establish a direct link with Hong Kong and mainland government will have a stronger tendency and willingness to work with consultants, professionals from Hong Kong and mainland. And I think going forward, something that we're very sure of is the bankability. I think bankability of Belt and Road projects and corporates has been a very strong topic in the past 3 years. How to make sure a project is feasible from financing to building to operation, how to make sure a project is truly bankable. And that's where Hong Kong Professional comes in. Hong Kong Professional has been doing that in Hong Kong and mainland. And together with our strong partnerships with our mainland corporate or SOEs partnerships, and also in Hong Kong with our developers or infrastructure providers, going together as a package, as a team to these Belt and Road countries, we're in a much better position to make sure that these projects are bankable and viable going forward. So these are some of the understanding that we have on the population and age density of Belt and Road. And I think that's why for us as an SMEs, we are very much focused on Southeast Asia and gradually Central Asia, because that's where majority of the population, of the youth, of the spending power is there. And the physical and digital connectivity is very, very much there. I think that's it for me. If there's any questions, feel free to let me know. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Nicholas. Very rich sharing, and thank you. I think working with friends is very important, always, right? And then never worry about challenges, because we always have challenges and we meet challenges every day. And then actually that is the beginning of success, all right? Seeing challenges. So we look forward to more sharing from you, Nicholas, okay, in the future, in the forthcoming workshops, because you have so much experience, okay, and working you also mentioned one thing, it's very important to be good with your profession, obviously. Okay, that is a must, that is a starting point. But at the same time, we have to move beyond that. And so everybody needs to be a journalist in a way. Okay, so I think that is very important point as Hong Kong emphasized on innovation and technology. And then we always have to cover history and social science and philosophy, all those kinds of things, okay, so that we can all become wiser managers as well as leaders, as we go by. Okay, so we now have sharing of 5 distinguished speakers, and now it's the time for more discussion, okay, involving our many distinguished participants, over Zoom as well. So I pass the time to our panel and moderated by Professor Mao and Dr. George Lam, and also we have a distinguished discussant, Mr. LCU. Phyllis and George.
Yes, thank you very much. I think all of us have enjoyed very much about the previous sharings. So in this session, in order to make this session to be more interactive, I have great honor to invite Dr. George Lam to co-chair this session. Dr. George Lam is the chairman of Hong Kong Central Port and has been serving on various public and private organizations, including honorary chairman Asia Pacific CMA Australia Hong Kong branch, and also other government committee, etc. For example, the governance committee of the Hong Kong Group portfolio of the Hong Kong government, and the Belt and Road and Greater Bay Area committee of the Hong Kong Trade and Development Council. I'm sure with Dr. Lam's in-depth knowledge on the Belt and Road and various industrial and also consultancy experience, we can have more insightful discussion under
Thank you.
Dr. Lam's leadership in this session. Before we open the discussion to all our other participants' questions, we would like to invite Mr. Y.C. Yu as a discussant to share his over 40 years experience in the project management and other litigation and arbitration experience, coordination, etc. Okay, so Mr. Yu is the director, consultant, and also chief quantity surveyor of China Harbour Engineering Company Limited. And he is responsible for all the litigation, arbitration, and contractual matters and commercial project management of engineering and building projects in China, Hong Kong, and other overseas countries. So without undue delay, may I invite Mr. Yu to start the discussion first?
Thank you, Professor Mo. I'm honored to join this symposium and learn from the distinguished speakers about their very valuable experience and expert advice on the two themes, opportunity, challenges in overseas projects, and the and also the considerations in of Hong Kong's professional services. From the speaker's presentation, perhaps China's Belt and Road Initiative brings the whole issue of mega project management into perspective, involving hundreds of projects and dozens of countries right across Asia and west into the Middle East and ultimately Europe, involving legal, funding, procurement, land environment, and also frequently political issues. Belt and Road Initiative is an attempt to meet this in the recipient country, whether they be for a new railway route or tunnel or shipping port, notwithstanding political difference and inherent dangers. Managed correctly, the mega projects can be proven to be of significant benefit, even where they have used a lot of resources. For example, the Eurotunnel, which was built 25 years ago. It appears there are great opportunities for overseas projects, which are mega projects on another scale. Of course, the costs tend to run into the billions rather than millions in any currency, and they often undertaken for social, economic, and political reasons. The greatest issue facing these mega projects is the complexity. The government policy frequently details the scale and the ambition of a typical mega project. The main issues facing the construction sector concerning mega projects are similar to that of any. The difference in the scale of project in terms of planning, approval, cost, duration, labor impact on supply chain, and success of funding and its impact on risk analysis, and management. This year is the first year of the 14th five-year plan. Our country's development will rely on reform and innovation as the fundamental driving force. And the establishment of a new development pattern will gather pace, featuring dual circulation, which takes the domestic market as the mainstay, while enabling internal and external markets to boost each other. If we can make use of this opportunity, it will surely speed up the economic recovery of Hong Kong after the epidemic. Stepping into the domestic circulation, the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area will be an important entry point for Hong Kong. Promoting the development and success of the Greater Bay Area has also become the key to Hong Kong's own success. The Greater Bay Area is a visionary undertaking to develop a world-class cluster of cities with a strategic focus on innovation and technology, modernized industry, improved connectivity, and the quality living of international standards. The Greater Bay Areas will be an important node for the implementation of the Belt and Road Initiative. Hong Kong continues to enhance and pursue its development in international financing services, asset management, and risk management. Global offshore renminbi business, innovation and technology research and development and IP, international aviation, transport, logistics, and trade, and also international legal and dispute resolution services, and as well as professional services. Hong Kong has an obvious role as an international intermediary and facilitator in the development of the country's external circulation, leveraging on its competitive edge in finance and international business and trade network, and providing professional business and high value-added services that are in line with the international standards. Actively participating in the development of domestic and international dual circulation will help create a wider room for Hong Kong's development. So I think the speakers has covered all these areas, and I think we can explore more from their presentation about how we can do better in the future. May I ask the first question to Mr. Anthony Lam about your great experience in the development of the overseas projects, in particular in dealing with the cultural differences. You mentioned about the CSR, which is very difficult to start with. So can you share the experience with us, how you develop the CSR in the foreign countries for your business or the projects?
Thank you, Mr. Liu, Minister Yu. Well, our experience is that we found Hong Kong has a special status in the peoples from ASEAN countries.
Yeah.
Because Hong Kong is very famous and it's very advanced. People look up to Hong Kong. So we should actually keep this spirit going. So when we go to different countries, in Vietnam, in Thailand, in Malaysia, people actually look up to what we can bring to the society, what we can teach them. And we have no reservation into teaching them. So this is part of the CSR is part of the thing we bring into the country. It's not only what, as I said, not only what we get out from their country, but what we can give to the country. We do a lot of charity projects. We join the fund run projects in Vietnam. We do a lot of society engagement. Mm-hmm. This will actually show the staff that it is for business. You look after all the stakeholders, because for our business, the stakeholders is actually all the people. And it's not only just the shareholders or the management. So that's why this is a kind of concept we continuously tell our staff, whether which is the store staff or whether it is the management trainee or the professional staff that we hired. So that's why it's also we do the engagement from the offices down to the store level, and also direct communication with the local CEO to the local storefront staff. So this is the kind of thing that actually I think you have to train them, and you put it in your mission and vision, so that when people join our company, that they will have to learn and they know that what our company stands for.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Lam. Another question is about the you mentioned about the SPV hub for Hong Kong to explore the projects in the Belt and Road, and how could you advise our companies in Hong Kong, maybe they or the mainland, maybe join the combination Hong Kong together to explore the market? Can you give them some advice on this?
Right, thank you. Actually, some of the things that, being a financial center in Hong Kong, a lot of the finances are being, like for example, if you do go to the market, the IPO or any financing from Hong Kong, there's a lot of experiences from Hong Kong. And if we use this experience from Hong Kong to invest into ASEAN countries, of course, all these investments into ASEAN countries, we need Hong Kong professionals like the lawyers or the accountants. They have to adapt to, apart from following the local accounting and the legal rules, they also have to, if you have like a loan engagement or a CB engagement in Hong Kong, or even an IPO in Hong Kong, you also have to follow the Hong Kong law. So you set up some SPV from Hong Kong into, and then with that setup, you can actually invest back into the ASEAN countries. A lot of because Hong Kong is rather easy to set up companies. Even setting up a Hong Kong company, it takes like 2 days, and setting up a BVI, it's probably also 2 days. So Hong Kong can provide a very flexible and also regulated, I would say, a doorway into investing into ASEAN countries.
Yeah, so that they need the professional service from the
the professional service actually. The lawyers and accountants are actually having a lot of businesses in Hong Kong, especially when they change the Hong Kong Hong Kong accounting standards. So we all have to follow.
Okay, maybe Dr. Lam, would you like to follow up or any question?
Yeah, well, I think this morning the insight sharing. Thank you. This morning the insight sharing session already touched on everything about we need to know in terms of updates from the Belt and Road markets, and I can see the speakers already cover important areas like Mr. Anthony Lam, stressing this social engagement, CSR and stakeholders, and then we also see Dr. David Wei talking about the environment, how to actually make the best out of the natural geography and to add to the economy. My good friend Johnson Kong talking about governance, supporting businesses. Also, Miss Melissa Pang talk about Hong Kong's as a legal hub, you know, a lot of governance as an edge, and Nicholas Ho talking about, you know, how to reach out, how to work with the people. So we can see the Belt and Road now is really at the point of Belt and Road Initiative 2.0. You know, it's a new thing, particularly after COVID-19, the new normal. We're talking about sustainability. We're talking about quality. That's why we have CityU involved. And we talk about innovation and technology. We talk about regional and global cooperation. We talk about green and blue. For example, plastic pollution is a big thing now, affecting the ocean. And actually, ASEAN region is a major area for solution. Right? And then green, of course, we need green. So green and blue. And then we have the Greater Bay Area opportunity. We talk about new infrastructure, you know, digital infrastructure. So, and entrepreneurship and youth and so on. So my point is there's a new phenomenon or tool here that we can use to add to our businesses. And that is quite hot now. It's called ESG, you know, and E is for environmental, you know, how to conserve the natural world. S is for social, that is to consider people's issues and relationships. And G is for governance. It's really standards for running businesses very well in the right direction. So all of these, you know, ESG is really the emphasis as a tool to make Belt and Road opportunities not only successful, but engaging and socially responsible. All of our investments are impact investments, and our businesses are responsible businesses, and our bankers are doing responsible banking and all of that. So I think on that note, I really think perhaps some other panelists.
Okay, maybe we received quite a number of questions from the participants. And here is one of the questions from our international and professional advisor of our center, Mr. S.M. Yao. He has a question for Mr. Anthony Lam and also David Wright. The question is, we expect the post-COVID world politics would be changing considerably. In particular, the growing tension between the US and European country on one hand, and also China on the other hand. May I know how Belt and Road strategy, from your corporate point of view, should be readjusted or scaled down to capture opportunity and avoid the risks or dangers?
Thank you, Professor. What I think is that there are risks and there are opportunities, and there's always a tension between different countries and different systems. But if you can see, even though between the trade skirmishes between China and the US, we talk about we still in China, they still signed the RCEP after 7 years of discussion, and also China talking about joining the CTPP. Okay, these are a lot of handshakes between different countries. So don't underestimate. I think the media is over criticized on the trade skirmishes, and actually they didn't talk about the positiveness enough. So I would believe ASEAN countries, the basic is that China's cost of production is getting higher. So China's companies or factories or manufacturing industry will need to actually find alternatives. This has been happening for the past 10 years. You talk about a lot of the China plus one policy, and a lot of the people choose China plus one is It's not only China, but any other countries other than China. So Vietnam, Thailand, Myanmar, even Malaysia and Philippines, they benefit a lot from this initiative. So with the RCEP, I think this is going to be more opportunities for the industry or for the enterprises rather than problems or risks.
Okay. How about Mr. David Wright? David?
等一下，我完全同意刚刚Mr. Lam 的这个观点，而且确实呢，我们看到就是现在呢各个国家之间呢有一些这个 tension 啊，明显的在提升，但是呢与此同时，其实我想说的是，我们更多的看到的是越来越多的合作，就像前面我在这个presentation 里面提到的，我们刚刚在去年的这个10个码头的收购，其实都是跟法国的公司一块来合作去做的，而且呢，本身这个 Belt and Road， 我觉得它就是一个这个合作共赢的平台，所以我想这个应该不会是大的问题，大家这个其实很多公司更多的看到的是一个携手共赢的机会。
Thank you very much. Any other opinion from participants? No? Then there is another question. Talking about for SMEs enriching to develop in Belt and Road area, what are the resources and support available to facilitate their development? Maybe any sharing from professional service or yeah. Nicholas, you want to add something? Yeah. For SME or for Mr. Dr. Chen?
Well, we certainly have different funding platform for that. For example, the Export Marketing Fund. All the enterprises are welcome to use that to explore different markets, including those along the Belt and Road. And actually, I heard what Nicholas Holzer said, that you really need to know the market before you go into that. And that's exactly what the EMF, we encourage the enterprise to use that to do some market research along the Belt and Road on the ASEAN market, so before they really invest into those into this initiative. And for the bud fund, we are looking into that to see how we can relax certain parameters so that our industrialists or professionals can utilize more. And of course, also we have the PASS, the fund to help different NGO, the different organizations to see how we can assist or help out the professional services practitioners to enter into different markets. And as I said in my opening speech, we are ready and we are very, we look forward to bringing different trade mission delegation to visit countries or regions along the Belt and Road so as to open more dialogue. And because of the COVID-19, we will do that for the time being. We'll do that through the webinar, through the online platform. And as I said, we have a lot more such dialogue we have such dialogue on a continual basis.
Nicholas, any point to add?
Yeah. I think Dr. Bernard mentioned, I think very resourceful platforms that Hong Kong government is building and has done already. I think for us, in terms of resources going abroad, we also rely a lot on TDC. For example, they have infrastructure toolkit, they have the Belt and Road portal, and also numerous other organizations, including chambers of commerce, including CityU, which also has, I believe, some information kit and also guidelines on going into different markets in Southeast Asia. But I think more important is talking to friends, gathering on the ground intel is quite important when narrowing down the market sector, because Belt and Road is huge and even ASEAN is very, very diverse. So picking one or two economies would probably depend on a lot of considerations more than just research. I think the research today compared to 10 to 20 years ago is very, very different because there's a lot of information out there, a lot of relevant, good information out there. But I think more important is talking to people that you trust, that you think has relevant business as you are, and gathering that on the ground intel would be very, very important.
In other words, do better research, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think, on that note, I think we can talk a little bit, in our future forthcoming professional workshops. Of course, we will invite, distinguished speakers in relation to each of the overseas jurisdiction. And at the same time, we will prepare a training pack. We'll prepare a training pack for each of this jurisdiction that will include some basic, policies regarding the zones and some of our initial insights and observations on that jurisdiction. So hopefully that would be a little bit helpful. Okay, so yeah.
Thank you. There is one question direct to Johnson. The question is, with one accountant for over 100 residents in Hong Kong, and the opportunity for students and companies, the salary level of fresh graduate in the CPA firm is relatively lower than salary of other countries, for example, the USA. But with housing so much more expensive, what can Hong Kong and the CPA industry do to solve this long-term issue?
It is an issue that a lot of people have raised. First of all, we talk about the so-called low starting salary. The salary that we pay to the students, actually, this is the only part of the total remuneration. One would have to recognize to nurture a student. Actually, the firms provide a lot of other non-dollar type of benefits to students. Say, for example, we give a lot of study leaves, examination leaves. We pay for the professional examinations for our students. We train our students. We provide seminars to them. We provide a lot of training courses to them. And all this add up actually is quite a significant amount. Which could actually equivalent to kind of double the basic salary that we pay them. That's one thing. You talk about comparing the starting salary with other countries. Actually, my daughter, she works in the US, in New York. Yes, she started off with a higher salary, but actually taking into account the taxes, the social securities, contributions and whatnot that she has to pay. Actually, the take-home salary is lower than what we can get for students in Hong Kong. And being the father, I still have to subsidize her rent and living in New York, which is a very expensive place as well. So I think, we really need to sort of, it's not really comparing apple with apple. So we need to understand, really the makeup of the package for our students, rather than just comparing the dollar sign. That's my response.
Thank you. And another question related to the CPA is that what is the advantage for accounting and auditing firm of Hong Kong?
Well, first of all, I think I did sort of touch on that in my presentation. First of all, we have a very good qualification examination system here in Hong Kong for a start. Okay. As a result, I'll venture to say the quality of our graduates, they are pretty high compared with other sort of accounting bodies, in other countries. In fact, taking my daughter as an example, she qualified as a US CPA. Actually, the CPA examination only involves multiple choice questions. And she only needs to have 1 year experience in order to be qualified as a US CPA. But in Hong Kong, we have lots of papers, written papers,
And at least we need to have 3 years working experience to qualify as a CPA for a start. And obviously the opportunities in Hong Kong, which we offer to our students, are quite varied and also, I would say, multinational, international experience in terms of, we do a lot of work for mainland China, or in mainland China, and for mainland China enterprises. We also have a lot of multinational corporations having the foothold in Hong Kong. And the experience that they can gain is very as well. We talk about, different industries. We talk about, IPOs, bond issuance and whatnot. So it's quite significant in that sense. And in particular, I would say it's very useful for, under the Belt and Road Initiative to have that qualities as well. And accountants, we are quite language-wise. We were quite conversant, actually, not just in English, but also in different dialects in Chinese dialects, and that helps as well. And we know the Chinese culture. Back as we started really sort of talk about the first Chinese enterprises listed in Hong Kong, which was back in 1993. So it's almost 30 years down the line now. And obviously we have gained a lot of experience. And I think these are all attributes and credentials that, the accounting firms and our staff and our partners that we have in Hong Kong.
Thank you very much.
And I want to address one point made by Anthony. Anthony mentioned about, we change our standards quite often, and with the implications that probably we create few opportunities for ourselves. But that's not true. In fact, Hong Kong, even though we are a standard setters, the institute, but actually we adopt international standards, international auditing standard, international ethical standard, international accounting standard, financial reporting standards. So we don't really create those standards ourselves. And so I want to clarify that point. Thank you.
You have a question? Yeah.
This is good. Excellent. I think so far, I think, let me just turn on. Yes. So far, we've been talking about Belt and Road projects, business opportunities, and Hong Kong's unique role. I think that's tremendous. I think we can, my question for our speakers is really, in fact, Hong Kong is the de facto international financing and investment center for Belt and Road projects because of our professional services, our governance, and all of that, because of our embracing of ESG best practices. So we can participate in, this carbon neutrality grand targets set by China 2060 and Hong Kong ourselves 2050 carbon neutrality and all of that. So my question to our speakers, distinguished speakers, is going forward, how do we make better use of Hong Kong to mobilize more private capital and international capital into our Belt and Road projects to work together for a better world? Because you cannot just count on public sector money alone. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Thank you, George. I think there are a lot of opportunities for Hong Kong to raise funding, no matter whether it is public or private funding. Even though there are a lot of fund managers has already existed in Hong Kong. So that with this kind of environment, I think in Hong Kong, you can easily get funding if you have got a good project. So the main thing is that you need a good project, a developable and an engageable project in the Belt and Road countries, in ASEAN countries. And then I don't think it is too difficult for these projects to raise funds in Hong Kong because of the Hong Kong strong governance and the expertise, the professionals in Hong Kong are available in Hong Kong, also the incubators, a lot of the government, a lot of support. And I do not see that's a lot of problem into that. But as a matter of fact, Hong Kong can benefit strong as a regional hub for the investment in the Belt and Road projects as well.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear. I'm sure Johnson has something useful to add.
Just want to sort of supplement a bit. If talk about fund financiers, in fact, for Chinese companies, in China they do have the so-called the Chinese policy banks, including say the China Development Bank, the Export-Import Bank of China, and also we have the Silk Road Fund. Actually, these are all catered for the Chinese companies. Whereas for other projects, under the BRI initiative, we have the AIIB, the Asian Infrastructure Development Bank, and they all sort of invest in the BRI related opportunities. And we also have the New Development Bank, which is established by the, I think it was back in 2014 by the BRIC countries. And indeed, we have a lot of private equities funds here in Hong Kong as well, which are very interested in supporting, projects along the Belt and Road countries.
Thank you, Johnson. I mean, very well said.
Yeah, on behalf of the Hong Kong companies investing into the Belt and Road and ASEAN countries, maybe we can ask the Hong Kong government can have some tax deductibility for these companies investing into these areas.
It will save as a big undersecretary. I mean, you are the authority. If you want to announce good things, you can do it now. I can relay your message to. But really, I think I'd like to add just two things. Just earlier, Anthony mentioned already that ASEAN countries, people out there, they really like Hong Kong. I think this is very important.
This is very important asset, that Hong Kong can leverage to help Belt and Road projects and the markets, the stakeholders along the markets as well. I think here, because Belt and Road is really about people-to-people connections as well, as Professor Mo mentioned to me earlier. And I think that point is important. And Hong Kong can play a role. In Hong Kong, we like Vietnamese food, we like Thai travel packages, we like to go to the Philippines and so on. So this is the place to really strengthen people-to-people bonding. And only with that, we can do more business and sustainable business. And the second thing I like to just add, building on your points, is the fact that Hong Kong is a digital economy hub for the region. You can see that we are already an IFC, like Melissa already said, and but we are more than an IFC. We are, in fact, becoming so-called EIFC because we have fintech, so financial services plus information technology. So in fintech, we already have 600 fintech companies in Hong Kong, including insurtech, regtech, wealth tech, and you name it, we have it. And all these digital technology startups and SMEs, particularly with support from Undersecretary Dr. Bernard Chan, I think we are going out from Hong Kong. And I think back to the SME question. Go out in the traditional way, digital. Actually, you have to do it digitally. Anyway, on that note, so don't forget about Hong Kong's digital power. Take a look at Cyberport. Yeah, I just mentioned, don't overlook the digital economy edge that Hong Kong can help the regional projects and SMEs and startups. And by all means, come to Cyberport, our global tech hub, which has 1,600 tech companies and startups. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Because of time, I think we will end the Q&A session here. Thank you. Well, a whole morning, quickly pass away. Okay, so this is a past program. Okay, so I think we all have more than a past this morning. Okay, hopefully, I certainly learned a lot. In this brief concluding remarks, I'd like, first of all, I need to do a few things. The first of all is to thank our distinguished speakers and discussant and moderators of the panel. So we have prepared a very modest appreciation to all of you. So thank you so much, and I look forward to receiving your continued support and participation in our forthcoming workshops. And secondly, we hope all the participants, who join us on the Zoom, have enjoyed today. And we would send all of you an email right after this. And then please take a look at the email. And then there's several things that we'd like to draw attention. First of all, it's we're going to start our series of workshop almost right away. Okay, our next workshop on Cambodia is scheduled in February on the 8th, actually. Okay, on the 8th. So exactly 1 month. Exactly 1 month from today. It's also a Monday. It is a Monday as well. So please mark your diary, and in fact, you can register right away now. Okay, so register, get your seat, and then we would roll out the rest of the details to you in a little while. And then also mark your in other workshops, we will announce the dates as soon as we confirm with the other speakers. Okay, we'll let you know. And secondly, we appreciate your feedback on today's symposium. So please, in the email, we will provide another QR code, okay, which would lead you to the questionnaire. So please tell us how you feel, about the workshop and the symposium, and let us know your views. Okay, so please. And in particular, inside the questionnaire, there is a question that you must answer. That is, we would like you, we are asking you for your consent to share your contact information with the rest of the group, okay, with the rest of the audience, because even though we cannot meet everybody, face to face here, and so we cannot exchange cards, and then we try to connect people, because I think, as Nicholas say, we need friends, right? We need friends. We need to talk to people a lot more, and so we need to learn from one another. So I hope today is only the beginning of a long journey, and we will enjoy the journey because we got many friends. So I think that's it. So I wish all of us a very happy Chinese New Year to come. Thank you. Thank you. One last thing, I'd like to thank the crew today, and of course, Dr. Bernard Chen for supporting this program. Thank you. Yeah. So thanks to participants from all over the world. Okay, have a good day.